Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 10 facts about Ferraris, fan theories, and more. What did it take to bring Ferris Bueller's Day Off to the screen? A lot by the looks of things. Here are 10 fourth-wall-breaking facts about the John Hughes classic. Number 10. It wasn't summer. Ferris Bueller is very much a summer movie and was released around the same time. As for when it was actually shot, that's a different story. Cameras rolled the previous autumn. Hollywood doesn't let a little detail like seasons get in the way of a good flick, so leaves were painted a healthy shade of green. Audiences would be none the wiser. Environmentalists may cringe, but the foliage was now ready for its close-up. Number 9. Paul McCartney reportedly wasn't a fan. In a masterly musical moment, Ferris struts his stuff to twist and shout at Chicago's Von Steuben Day Parade. Written by Phil Medley and Burt Burns, the famous 1960s Beatles version was used. Paul McCartney gave director John Hughes and co. the go-ahead for the track to be included. When the scene came, it was accompanied by a brass band, a rather loud brass band. Apparently, the Liverpudlian didn't appreciate the move, because it blasted across the Fab Four's dulcet tones. Website 80s Kids writes, Hughes explained later that the use of the brass band made sense in the scene, and many brass musicians were part of the parade, and it seemed logical to hear them play. This wasn't the only snafu for Ferris involving a well-known band. Number 8. The Cure wrote a song for the movie. For the art gallery sequence, an exciting rock treat was planned. 80s chart toppers The Cure had a spanking new song lined up to play alongside Ferris and his friends' antics. As fans probably know, an instrumental of the Smiths is what ended up in the flick. What happened? It was a classic case of that old chestnut, creative difference. The Cure had been enlisted to record the track by music supervisor David Anderle, writes 1980s Kids. He was fired from the production following disagreements with John Hughes. That meant a problem requiring a whole other remedy. When Anderle left, he took the rights to the Cure song with him. Talk about a bum note. Number 7. They used replica Ferraris. Bueller and his group spend the movie driving around in a 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California Spider. The dream car belonged to best friend Cameron's dad. It surely isn't the biggest spoiler to reveal the sweet ride gets totally trashed. The production took the Ferrari and its well-being very seriously. Replicas were made for scenes where things got rough and ready. But in a showbiz twist, these fakes are now pretty valuable in themselves. In 2013, a Ferris Bueller special went under the hammer for a cooler than cool $235,000. Number 6. There wasn't a sequel, but Charlie Sheen came back. A Bueller Part 2 was in the air at some point, yet never materialized. Josh Gad brought the main cast together for his online Reunited Apart series this year, where Jake Gyllenhaal popped up and suggested playing Ferris Bueller Jr. That was a bit of mischief-making, but one way the concept did come back was in the shape of Charlie Sheen's wild boy role, Boy in Police Station. 1980s set sitcom The Goldbergs made a tribute episode to the much-loved movie in 2015. The familiar scene was recreated with the star, then in his late 40s, joining in the retro fun. In the original, Sheen is said to have stayed up for 48 hours to get into character. Whether he did the same this time around isn't clear. Number 5. John Hughes wouldn't let Molly Ringwald take part. Hughes was known for his teen movies and often worked with the same young actors. Molly Ringwald was one. She starred in his iconic The Breakfast Club the previous year, and it made sense for her to try and appear in the director's latest. She was up for playing Ferris's sweetheart Sloane, but Hughes turned her down. The reason given was that she deserved a bigger role. Mental Floss adds, Hughes wanted an older actress to play Ferris's girlfriend. Number 4. The guys weren't teenagers. Eventually, the director cast Mia Sara, age 18, as 17-year-old Sloane. According to 80s kids, he thought an actual teenager wouldn't have the gravitas and maturity he was looking for until Sarah's audition proved him wrong. For Ferris and Cameron, however, Hughes stuck to his original policy. They were written as 18-year-old dudes. Broderick was a dude in his early 20s. As for Ruck, well, at 30 he wasn't far off playing Bueller's father. Number 3. Ferris was a dirty dancer. Future Dirty Dancing star Jennifer Grey played Ferris's sister Jeannie, and she wasn't the only hot stepper in the mix. Choreographer Kenny Ortega went on to work with Grey and Patrick Swayze on the dance-fueled screen sensation. Before that time of his life rolled around, however, he collaborated with Matthew Broderick on that famous Chicago Float performance. Number 2. It was between Matthew Broderick and John Cusack. Hughes set his sights on Broderick, yet as is common in the movie's various names were mentioned in connection with the title role. Chief among these was John Cusack. He'd worked with the director before on 1984's 16 Candles, and it's said he came very close to jumping aboard that Ferrari. Hughes' favorite, Anthony Michael Hall, was also in the frame, though it appears they stopped working together following a dispute of some kind. According to Alan Ruck, Hall was offered the lead role but turned it down, writes Screen Rant. It's believed Hall wanted to avoid being too typecast in the type of role he'd played previously in John Hughes movies. Number 1. Ferris is really Cameron? Did Ferris Bueller even exist at all? The Meta Talk Forum went deep in 2009 with the theory putting the character squarely in the imagination of his buddy Cameron. Like Tyler Durden in Fight Club, Ferris can be seen as a manifestation of Cameron's fractured personality. If that sounds a little involved for such a bright and breezy comedy movie, then avoid this next observation, courtesy of The Atlantic.